We called it. 3 weeks ago, I told you that Kilauea would erupt between February 10th and 20th, 2026. Episode 42. On February 15th at 1:50 PM Hawaiian time, it happened. Lava fountains shot 1,300 feet into the air. Both vents erupted simultaneously. 15 million cubic yards of molten rock poured out over 9 hours and 48 minutes. The plume reached 35,000 feet. Ash fell on communities to the southwest. We predicted this. We told you when, we told you where, and we were right. This is what volcano science looks like when it works. Hey everyone, welcome back to Static and Soil. If you've been following this channel, you know we don't just report on volcanic eruptions after they happen. We tell you what's coming before it arrives. And episode 42 of Kilauea's ongoing eruption was our proof of concept. Let me walk you through what happened, show you the incredible footage, and explain what comes next. Because episode 43 is already being forecasted, and we're going to track it together. 3 weeks ago, I made a video about Kilauea's episodic eruption pattern. I explained how the volcano has been erupting in episodes since December 23, 2024. Each episode lasts less than 24 hours. After each one, the volcano pauses. The summit inflates as magma refills the system, pressure builds, and then it erupts again, over and over, every 2 weeks or so. Based on the pattern from episodes 40 and 41, I predicted that episode 42 would happen between February 10th and 20th. USGS Hawaiian Volcano Observatory later narrowed that window to February 11th through 15th, and on February 15th, exactly within both our predicted windows, episode 42 began. Let me tell you what that eruption looked like, because the data is incredible. Episode 42 started with precursory activity on February 14th. At 1:05 p.m., scientists observed a tiny lava overflow from the north vent. Small, easy to miss, but significant. Throughout the afternoon and evening of February 14th, there were more small overflows. Intermittent spattering. The volcano was showing its hand. It was getting ready. And then on February 15th at 1:08 p.m., continuous overflows began at the south vent. By 1:50 p.m., tremors spiked. The tilt meter at Wekahuna registered sharp deflation, and lava fountaining began from both vents. By 2:45 p.m., both fountains were roaring. The south vent reached 1,000 to 1,200 feet high. The north vent reached 800 to 1,000 feet. The weather wasn't cooperating. Rain and clouds made visual observations difficult, but scientists on the ground estimated that at peak intensity around 3 p.m., the south vent fountain was hitting 300 feet, 1,300 feet of molten rock shooting into the air. The north vent was slightly shorter, around 1,000 feet, but just as spectacular. And here's the thing about dual vent eruptions. When both are fountaining at the same time at similar heights, the visual effect is stunning. Two parallel columns of incandescent lava, separated by just a narrow gap, both feeding massive lava flows on the crater floor below. The eruption was producing lava at a peak rate of 1,000 cubic yards per second. 1,000 cubic yards per second. That's like filling an Olympic swimming pool every 2.5 seconds. Over the course of the 9 hours and 48 minutes that episode 42 lasted, the volcano expelled an estimated 15 million cubic yards of lava. That's enough lava to cover about 50% of the Halema-Uma'u crater floor. Half the crater, buried under fresh lava from a single episode. The plume from the eruption was massive. By 3 p.m., the National Weather Service reported that it had reached 35,000 feet above sea level. 35,000 feet. That's cruising altitude for commercial jets. Strong trade winds from the northeast were blowing the ash plume to the southwest. Communities like Pahala, Punaluu, and Naalehu reported light tephra fall, fine ash, Pele's hair. Nothing heavy, but enough to notice. Unlike episode 41, which had much heavier ashfall because of light winds, episode 42's ash was dispersed more widely due to the stronger winds, so the impact on communities was less severe. But make no mistake, this was a major volcanic event. At 11:38 p.m. on February 15th, after nearly 10 hours of continuous fountaining, episode 42 ended abruptly. The lava stopped. The fountains died down. The volcano paused. And now as I'm recording this, Kilauea is inflating again. Magma is refilling the system. Tilt is rebounding. Gas emissions continue from both vents, and USGS is already forecasting episode 43. Let me talk about what the prediction actually means. because I think this is important for people to understand. When we say we predicted this eruption, what we mean is that we used scientific data to forecast a window of time when an eruption was likely. We didn't predict the exact hour. We didn't predict the exact fountain height. We predicted a range of dates based on the pattern of previous episodes, the rate of ground inflation, and seismic activity. And that prediction was correct. Kilauea's episodic eruption pattern is one of the most predictable volcanic phenomena we've ever studied. And it's giving scientists an incredible opportunity to test and refine forecasting methods. The data from these episodes, the patterns we're identifying, the models we're building, all of this will help us understand other volcanoes, other eruption styles, other hazards. Because at the end of the day, that's the goal, to understand volcanoes well enough that we can warn people before they erupt, to give communities time to prepare, to save lives. Kilauea isn't threatening any communities right now. All the activity is confined to the summit caldera within Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. Nobody's in danger. No evacuations are needed. But what we're learning here applies to volcanoes everywhere. To Mayon in the Philippines, to Popocatépetl in Mexico, to Campi Flegrei in Italy, to every volcano that poses a threat to populated areas. The better we understand volcanic patterns, the better we can predict them, and the better we can protect people. If you've been following along with these predictions, if you watched the episode 42 update video I made, thank you. Thank you for trusting the science. Thank you for being part of this journey. And if you're new here, welcome. Subscribe because we're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep predicting these episodes. We're going to track episode 43 in early March, episode 44 after that. And we're going to show you that volcano science works. Hit that like button if you're impressed that we actually called this. Leave a comment and let me know. Were you watching the eruption live? Did you see it on the webcams? Are you going to tune in for episode 43? And if you haven't seen it yet, go watch my Campi Flegrei video, my Mount Mayon video, my Popocatépetl video. Because we're covering active volcanoes all over the world, and every single one of them has a story to tell. The next episode is coming. Episode 43, March 2nd through 14th. Mark your calendars. Set your reminders, because we're going to call this one too.